was a Sunday evening when my parents invited me over for dinner. I thought it would be one of our usual family gatherings. Laughter, teasing, and the smell of Mom's roasted chicken filling the air. But that night, the atmosphere was different. My parents sat stiffly at the dining table, and my younger sister, Vanessa, had a smug little smile on her face. I didn't think much of it until my father cleared his throat and said, "Diana, it's time we talked about Vanessa's wedding." I smiled politely. "Of course. I'm happy for her. What do you need from me?" My mother looked at me sharply. "We expect you to pay for it," she said plainly. I laughed at first, thinking she was joking. "Pay for it? Mom, Vanessa's getting married, not me. Why would I—" "Because it's your duty," my father interrupted, his voice firm. "You're the eldest daughter, successful and unmarried. It's tradition that you help your siblings." I stared at them, speechless. I worked hard for years to build my own company. I had no one to depend on. No inheritance, no help, nothing. And now they wanted me to pay for a lavish wedding that wasn't even mine? Vanessa smirked and said sweetly, "Come on, Diana, you can afford it. It's not like you have a husband or children to spend money on." That stung. My parents didn't say a word to defend me. Instead, my mother added, "If you don't want to pay, maybe you should just stay away from this family. You've always acted like you're better than us." That was the breaking point. I stood up, shaking from anger and disbelief. "If that's how you feel," I said, "then you can all leave my house within 24 hours. I've done enough for this family, and I'm done being treated like an ATM. Vanessa rolled her eyes. "You'll regret this." But deep inside, I knew something was off. That smug smile on her face. It wasn't just about the money. I felt there was more. Something they were all hiding from me. The next morning, I woke up feeling numb. My parents and Vanessa had packed their things and left. I tried to focus on work, but something kept nagging at me. I couldn't shake the feeling that there was a bigger reason behind their sudden demand. That night, I decided to do a bit of digging. Vanessa's fiancé, Mark, had never sat right with me. He was charming on the surface, but had a certain arrogance that made me uneasy. I had met him a few times, and every time, I caught him staring at me a bit too long, the kind of stare that made my skin crawl. I went through Vanessa's social media and found dozens of pictures of her and Mark. But also, surprisingly, a few of them at my beach house. My beach house where I hadn't invited anyone recently. How had they gotten in? Curiosity turned into suspicion. I called the caretaker, who told me something that made my blood run cold. "Miss Vanessa and her fiancé have been visiting your beach house almost every weekend for the past 2 months, he said. "They said you gave permission." I hadn't. I drove there the next day. When I arrived, I noticed something strange. A small silver bracelet lying on the couch. It was engraved with a letter M. I recognized it immediately. It belonged to my husband, Michael. My mind froze. Michael and I had been having problems lately. He'd grown distant, cold, and secretive. But this was something I never could have imagined. I called him, and when he picked up, his voice was calm. Too calm. "Michael," I said, trembling. "Have you been going to the beach house with Vanessa?" There was a long pause, then a quiet laugh. "What are you going to do, divorce me?" he said mockingly. I didn't say another word. I just hung up the phone, packed a suitcase, and left the house. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. But something inside me broke completely. For a week, I stayed in a hotel, away from everyone. My phone buzzed nonstop. Calls from my parents, messages from Vanessa, even emails from Michael. I ignored them all. I needed time to think. When I finally returned home, my parents were waiting on my porch. My mother looked worried. My father looked ashamed. Vanessa wasn't there. "Diana," my father began. "We didn't know about Michael and Vanessa. We found out after you left," Vanessa confessed. I folded my arms, my face expressionless. "And now? She's pregnant," my mother whispered, tears in her eyes. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. My sister, my own blood, had been having an affair with my husband and was now carrying his child. The betrayal was deeper than anything I'd ever imagined. But instead of crying, I felt strangely calm. "Good for her," I said quietly. "You all wanted me to pay for her wedding. I guess I already did, with my marriage. My mother tried to reach for me, but I stepped back. You made me believe family meant everything, I said. But all you cared about was taking from me. Well, not anymore. That night I filed for divorce. I transferred ownership of the beach house to charity and blocked everyone, including my parents. For the first time in years, I felt free. Months later, I started traveling, Paris, London, Cape Town, rediscovering myself. One evening, I received an email from Vanessa. It simply said, "I'm sorry." I didn't reply. Some wounds run too deep for apologies. But I did smile, not out of bitterness, but peace. Because I finally understood. Sometimes losing everything you thought mattered is the only way to find yourself again.